Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. So today is the summer equinox, the longest day of the year. And a lot of people, they come out and they celebrate at sunrise. They do some celebration at the end of the evening. They think about the summer equinox as really a start of something new. It's the longest day. Days start getting shorter. Believe it or not, we haven't even had summer yet, but days start getting shorter on the 22nd of June. And so I thought it would be really helpful to connect back in with Maria Fudas, who is a unbelievably interesting lady. She has written a book called Connect with Yourself and Others. She talks a lot about managing blocks in life. And she talks about sort of starting new, starting fresh. She reads cards, which is kind of interesting. She is very empathetic and thinks that she can read energy and sort of, I won't say predict the future, but sort of predict the future. What do you say? You're a Reiki master. You're an empathic person.
Yeah, I wouldn't call myself necessarily a Reiki master, but I do energy, like healing energy. And I am empathetic. I do feel people, but I'm also very intuitive. Mm-hmm. So that's where the card reading comes in, and I'm able to read people's cards, kind of tell them what's going to happen in the future, but always reminding them that I'm telling them what they're already manifesting. So it's all in our hands to take our destiny in charge.
And the book Connect with Yourself and Others, I read I think about a year ago when I first met you, and it was really quite interesting because really a lot of what you say about connecting with others really stems from connecting with self-loving yourself first.
Yes, and that's exactly what it's about. The book helps you navigate through the relationships, but primarily the relationship with yourself. Mm-hmm. And the relationship with ourselves is the one that's most important, right? And it's all about helping you obtain self-mastery in order to be able to lift the blocks that hinder you, which right. In order to achieve abundance and to achieve what you want in your life. And those biggest blocks that we need to lift are negativity and self-doubt. And these are the blocks that block us from achieving everything we want and the abundance into our lives.
So we're going to delve into this in greater detail, but let's talk about the summer equinox. And in days gone by, people celebrated early in the morning and late at night that they thought it really was a day of revitalization, a day of renewal. What do you think about the summer equinox? Is it a day to sort of take stock and think about the future?
Yes, and every equinox actually is a time to regenerate and to think about what you want. I see it almost like a little portal in the universe where it gives you
portal in the universe.
Yeah, gives you a chance to kind of align and figure out what you want, let go of what doesn't serve you, and kind of try to put your intention into what you want in order to manifest what you want in your life. So yeah, it's kind of like each equinox is kind of like a little portal that opens up in the universe. That's how I see it.
Well, we're going to challenge all of you to think a little bit about that tonight. So stay with us. We're going to be back in 2 minutes with Maria Fudas more, talking about what to think about when you're considering the summer equinox, change for the summer, for the future, sort of resetting yourself for the future. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back, everyone, to a special summer equinox show with Maria Fudas, who is a unbelievably interesting lady. She's written a book called Connect with Yourself and Others. She's a transformational coach. She is an empath. She reads cards. She sort of helps us figure out what we're all about and what the future is about. And I've had the pleasure of chatting with Maria a few times before. And I thought that given the summer equinox, and that a lot of people think this is a special day, an important day, a day to really give thought to oneself and one's future, that'd be helpful to check in with Maria. So welcome back to the show, Maria. You talk a little bit about self-love and courage. And one of the things you talk about in that self-love and courage is to avoid the 3 C's. What are the 3 C's?
The 3 C's are condemning, complaining, and criticizing. And those are the main things that you need to do in order to lift the negativity and any self-doubt you may have within yourself. But going back into the self-love and courage, self-love is important in order to be able to do that, because it's primary, the relationship with yourself. It kind of is the channel as to how everything else is going to be around you, the other relationships, and also what what you're manifesting and what you're giving out. But the courage is important because it's important to recognize that it takes courage to love. It takes courage to give to self-love, and it takes courage to change and to do the changes that you need to do in order to have the life that you want. So self-love and courage are what's needed. But the main things that we need to do is stop complaining, condemning, and criticizing. And we could go through each one of them individually if you want, to give the audience some tools
I'd love
on how to do that.
I think that'd be a great idea. Let's start though with courage. Where does one find the courage?
Okay, courage is something we all have, and courage is not having fear. It's having the fear and doing it anyways, right? That's the definition of courage. So fear is what hinders us from having what we want. Where fear is what causes us to have negativity and self-doubt. So it's finding that courage, even though we have that fear within us, finding the courage to do so. And I want to note as well that having the courage, really, it's a choice. Having self-love, being happy is a choice. You have to make a choice to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to be happy no matter what. Life brings us lots of lemons a lot of times, and it's not exactly what we want, right? But it's okay. It's what are you going to do with that? It's recognizing that sometimes, even if life brings you stuff that are not exactly the way you want, it's important that you maintain the faith and sometimes just surrender with the flow of the river of the universe, and sometimes you'll find that things work out better than you expected. So having the courage is a choice. Being happy is a choice. And using and avoiding those 3 C's are a way to be able to do it so that you're able to bring abundance into your life.
It's interesting. You talked about sort of surrender. There's been lots of sort of memes that have talked about that, but one of the best books I ever read, and some of the memes, for example, would be don't fight the wind, go, with the sail, go with the wind. You may tack one way or the other, but you don't fight the wind, or the same thing with a wave or a tide, surf the wave. So there are waves, there are winds, there are problems in life, but you got to use them to your advantage. One of the best books in that regard that I ever read was Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. And it's a great book. Siddhartha goes through a sort of a metamorphosis through different journeys, through different lives. But the last one is he's a ferry boatman, and he takes people across the river. And he talks about how the river, is at the same time at the head waters in the mountain, as in the creeks, as in the river, as in the sea, as it joins the sea, and how life is a continuous. And it really spoke to me. And other athletes I've interviewed and people and books that I've read about sort of being in the zone or being in the flow, or when you do that tennis serve without even thinking. I get that sometimes when I'm frankly writing something, or when I'm doing a financial analysis, or when I'm writing a speech or making a speech. Sometimes I feel like I'm just sort of in the flow. I know it so well. I've done it so many times that it becomes almost second nature. That's something about it, isn't it? You're sort of surrendering to it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what a meditation is. A lot of people think meditation is just being sitting there for 20 minutes and doing yoga and just kind of staying in a pose. No, meditation really is that. It's being in the zone. It's being in a place where you're not thinking, when you're not allowing your ego, your mind to take over, and you're kind of just doing instead of thinking. And that's what meditation is. So that's why it's important to also be present. And that's the way you get rid of negativity and the self-doubt and all the negative stuff, and to be able to bring good stuff in your life is being present.
What do you mean by being present?
So being present,
like smell the roses?
Smell the roses. Yes, I had just put a post on that. But smell the roses, I mean, literally, but be present. Like I'm talking with you now. It's important to be present. I'm not sitting here thinking, okay, what am I going to cook tomorrow? What am I going to do? Spaghetti. That's always good, or steak. But that's what being present is. So it's being present with whatever you're doing in that moment, whether it's a relationship, whether you're eating dinner, whatever you're doing, be present in whatever you're doing. And that's a form of meditation. And that allows you to be in the zone and allows you to bring better stuff in your life. And it also hinders you. It stops you from having negativity or self-doubt, because it doesn't. The ego, the fear is what causes you to do that. So when you are present and you stay in the now moment, then you'll find yourself that your mind is not going on, and that's where the ego is. That's where the fear is. It's always in the mind. So the mind is I call it a mind trap. because it's a trap. You think you're doing something, but it's always a trap. The heart is where the soul is. The heart is where where your true energy is. So that's why it's important to stay present and connect with yourself instead of allowing your mind to take over. Because as we know, it's your thoughts that create your emotions, and your emotions create your vibrations, and that's what you send out. So your thoughts
create your emotions, and your emotions
create your vibrations.
And that's what the energy is that you give out.
That's what you give out. That's what people see. Really? And that's what the universe gets. So if you're always having negative thoughts and self-doubt thoughts, then the universe, that's what it picks up. So even though it's not something you want, that's what it will give you, because it's like, oh, Maria thinks.
So I had this person tell me about manifesting, and they said, if you manifest negative things will happen. If you manifest positive things will happen. Is that sort of the energy that you're giving out? Do you think that's it?
Exactly, because whatever your thoughts are at any given moment, see, a thought takes like a minute, 2-3 minutes in order for it to become a vibration, to become energy. So the more you have a certain thought, the more it becomes stronger, it becomes energy. So that's what you're bringing into your life, and people don't realize that. You're not manifesting what we want. We don't manifest what we want at any given time. We manifest with energy. So whatever we're focusing on, whatever we're thinking of, mostly is what we're manifesting. For example, Brian, a lot of people, let's say they're negative, they're judgmental, or they're judging other people, or condemning other people, or criticizing other people, which is what one of the 3 C's are as well. And they don't realize by doing that, that's what you're bringing into your life. You'll notice parents maybe that are racist or judgmental or ignorant, and they talk badly about someone else. They'll talk, I don't know, maybe somebody's divorced or somebody married a certain type, and then they'll be talking all with their friends. Oh my God, this person did this. You will find it will always 99.9% come into their life. So whatever you're condemning is exactly what you're going to get into your life in some way or the other.
100% what you're condemning will come into your life.
Yes,
really.
That's what's so important. Yeah, if you look at people in general, and you're going to see whatever's coming into their lives that they don't want. It's because in a deep level, they had that thought, they had that emotion that they were expressing, maybe not vocally, but it's something they were thinking within themselves. So if you look at anybody's life, I mean, you could kind of see what they're thinking.
So this complaining, condemning, criticizing is really what people are thinking. And you're saying that if you do that, those things that you're condemning, that you're criticizing, that you're complaining about are going to come back and haunt you.
Yeah. And we could take criticism on its own if you like, because criticism is so important, especially self-criticism. So that's something we need to stop immediately, because criticism is like a virus. Imagine the computer. I'm
overweight. I got to lose weight. That's not
no, because
self-criticism, self-assessment is important.
Self-assessment is important, but criticism, self-assessment, yeah, I've gained a couple of pounds too, and yes, I'd like to lose it, but I'm still beautiful as I am, and you're very handsome. Nobody's going to notice that.
Very kind of you. You are very beautiful.
Thank you. But no, see, I have my insecurities, but it's not about allowing them to take over. And you are very handsome. Nobody's going to notice that until you point it out.
Really?
Yes, because see, if you have a good energy and you have confidence and you have a good energy about you, that's what's projected. Because you'll find, when you're in a room, the most beautiful, socially beautiful girl is not always the most attractive.
The most confident.
And the cutest.
The it factor and carries herself well, or carries himself well. And
the cutest guy is not almost the most handsome.
Yeah.
So because it takes a lot more than that. And what it boils down to is the energy you are giving out. And the energy does come from the confidence. It's about staying in your frame. So I'll explain it this way, like staying in your frame. That's what confidence is. Not going out of your frame, being needy for someone else to give you a compliment or to give you something. So,
but I liked it when you gave me that compliment. It made me feel good.
Yes,
is that all right?
Of course. And I love getting compliments too. And it's not about not liking getting confidence. It's about recognizing where you need to change, because we all need to better ourselves. It's knowing that. But it's also knowing that you're handsome or that you're beautiful just the way you are anyways. It's not striving for perfection, because there's no perfection. Nobody thinks they're perfect. I mean, if somebody thinks they're perfect, they're narcissists, right? Yeah. There is no perfection, because everybody has their insecurities. So it's knowing that, doing what you can to do better. But at the moment, know that you're perfect and you're exactly where you need to be at this moment. And that's what's important, staying present where you are, and then taking the steps and the tools to go where you need to be, but staying in the confidence and knowing that it's okay.
So I had sorry for interrupting.
Mhm.
I had, I think, two analogies that people gave me that I thought were really quite apt in that regard. One was if you're a race car driver and you, for a nanosecond, look at the wall, you'll crash. That you've got to train yourself to only look at where you're going. And I had a football coach that told me if you've got the ball and you're running back, you cannot look at the tackler. You cannot worry about the tackler. What you got to do is only worry about the hole, because the hole where there is not someone is where you're going. And if you glance at the tackler, you're going to end up getting tackled. So you got to look at the hole. But, you think about that and it makes sense in race car drivers. It makes sense in athletics. Frankly, that's why they put the blinders on horses in horse racing. So it makes sense. If you look at the obstacle, if you look and focus on the problem, you're going to end up having a problem. But if you focus on the opportunity, on the place to go, where there's a clear path, you're going to be a lot more successful in life.
Yeah, and it's not, of course, it's not, it's recognizing where you need to change. But the other thing I wanted to mention as well, Brian, is we all have insecurities. There's no person that does not have insecurities. Everybody has their insecurities, but the important thing, and fears, and certain fears, the important thing though is to take the insecurities and own them.
Mhm.
Own them. So, own them. If you're shy, say, okay, I'm shy, but own it instead of, acting shy, say, yeah, I'm shy, but this is who I am. That means maybe you'll hang out with people that are a little bit more outgoing. So own your insecurity. That's what's important. It's owning your insecurity and have it work for you and not against you. And the same thing with the fear. Once you own it and you recognize what it is, whether it's a fear that you have for something, and be comfortable with whatever the worst thing may be. So if you're comfortable, let's say you have a fear for something, or a job, or any kind of anything that it might be comfortable with whatever the worst scenario will be, and then you'll be okay. Then it takes the energy out and the fear out. So be okay with it. Whatever the worst thing, think about what the worst thing that can happen. Be okay with it, but always hope for the best. Always believe that the best outcome will happen, but be okay with the worst. And that's when the fear loses its energy, it loses its grip. And the insecurities, and own it, and again, make it work for you. And people forget that.
So, summer equinox, time to think about the future. What are you suggesting? Are you telling people to sit back and think about what their insecurities are, or not focus on their insecurities and not focus on their weaknesses and just think about the positives?
What I'm saying is it's a time to be more aware, to be more awakened in a way, where you're aware of what you're doing, what you're thinking, most importantly, at each given time period. So as soon as you're aware of, you're living with awareness and in awareness, then you're able to make the change. Without that, you can't make any changes. So what I'm saying to the audience is, this is the time to live with awareness. At any given time, think about what you're thinking, and you're going to find that there's so much negativity in your thoughts that you're not even aware of. But once you become aware of them, then you could change them. So, and a lot of the negativity comes obviously from our subconscious, and we're not really aware. But once you're thinking about it and you're visualizing what your thoughts, and you're able to change them, then everything kind of will change. So awareness is what I would ask everybody to. That's the first step to any kind of change.
You describe this as the matrix, with perspective and focusing on gratitude, and that everything will be okay. Tell me about this matrix that you.
You know what? I was watching the Matrix, the movie, the other day, so that came to me, and I was thinking that's exactly what life is. It's kind of like a matrix. Visualize it like that. Once you visualize it like a matrix, and that it's kind of like a dream, you're living in it, then it's easy to kind of not take it so seriously. To kind of live it, enjoy the journey, and not
Really?
take it so
That's
seriously.
That's an interesting attitude. So it's not real. It's not. So we shouldn't take it so seriously.
It is real,
enjoy the ride.
It is real, but it's temporary. I don't know. Is it real? I don't know. I have to go put my little finger in there and see if there's a little portal that goes through. I don't know. Is it real? Isn't it? It's a dream. It feels real. It is real because you're feeling it, but it's temporary. So I don't know where we go from here.
But what you're saying is, don't take it so seriously, and so therefore you're talking about have some perspective, have some awareness, and be grateful. Focus
Yeah.
on gratitude.
Yeah,
Why focus on gratitude?
And I was going to say, yeah, and the awareness and change perspective. So that's what the perspective is important to get a new perspective. So it's important to have that awareness. And if you find yourself in negativity, instantly change that perspective and shift it into gratitude. Because once you're grateful for something, it's hard to be angry or upset or anything like that. And find anything to be grateful for. You could be grateful that if you're worried about your weight, be grateful that you're healthy. Be grateful that you're able to walk. Women, it's the legs. Be grateful that you're able to walk, and that you're if it's your face, if it's your eyes, whatever it is, find something to be grateful for. Be grateful for the purpose that the universe gave it, which is for it to see, to hear, to walk, and that's what the new perspective and the gratitude comes in.
Well, I'm grateful that you're here to share some of your insights on the summer equinox. We're going to take a break for some messages and be back with Maria Fudas in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody. Well, welcome back, everyone, to our special Summer Equinox show with Maria Fudas, who is an author. She's written a book. She's a transformational coach. She's an empath. She's a card reader. She's really quite an interesting lady, and she's got a lot of really good ideas about how to be in the moment, how to think about good things, how to focus not on the obstacles, but on the opportunities, how to get rid of complaining and condemning and criticizing, the 3 C's that she calls it, the negative 3 C's. And she's talked a lot about self-love and courage, and that you've got the choice that you can make to have self-love and to be courageous in that regard. So lots of interesting ideas. Maria, you said that you had an exercise that we could talk about something about living in our magnificence. What's that all about?
Yeah. So first of all, I want everybody to make a commitment right now that you're going to live in your magnificence. And that's the first step. It's making that commitment that you will from now on live in the magnificent person that you are. You're this powerful, energetic being that's so powerful. So don't act small from now on. From this day forward, make this commitment right now that you will live in your magnificence. And anytime that you don't, be aware of it and shift to a new perspective, to a new direction where you'll be able to live in that.
What is our magnificence?
Our magnificence is, as Einstein called it, our genius. It's who we are in reality, and what we are is this powerful energy. We're not all meant to be the same. We're not all meant to be identical. Our genius is what defines us, what differentiates us. Like Einstein said, I'm probably going to kill this expression, but he said something like, if you judge a fish by how well it climbs a tree, you will think it's stupid. But it's not a monkey, of course. Of course, it's not going to be able to climb a tree. It's meant to swim. So it's the same thing, recognizing within yourself, you don't have to be like everybody else. Be who you are. The universe doesn't make mistakes. And the fact also that you are living, that you exist right now is just, it's a sure example that you are worthy, that you're important, and you are meant to be here to fulfill your purpose. And the purpose is, and your overall purpose is to be happy and to make other people happy, to love yourself and to love others. So make that commitment right now to live in your magnificence and your genius. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. And also respect everybody else's journey. Respect what they have to go through and what they are doing. Their journey is not your journey, and your journey is not their journey. So live in your magnificence and allow the others to live in their genius and in their magnificence.
I interviewed 2 people the other day that described it interestingly, slightly differently, but sort of similar to what you're saying. One person said, everyone has their own weirdness. Find out what your weirdness is and celebrate it. And the other person said, well, that's your unique selling proposition, a business person, and figure out what your unique selling proposition is, your USP, which is usually applied to a company or a product. But people have a USP as well. You're an empath, you're an author, you can read cards, you can tell the future, and you got to figure out what your what your specialty is, what makes you different than everyone else.
Exactly. And that's part of the insecurities too. When I said before, like, find out what you don't like about yourself, your insecurity, make it work for you. So for me, yes, I have a loud voice. A lot of people shushed me when I was younger. So, well, it works for interviews. So that's great. But there's certain things that I always had, which now I come to accept. And that's what brings my magnificence, what brings my purpose out.
But if you're going to commit to living your magnificent, you got to try to figure out what that is. What is your magnificence? You got to go through if not a self-criticism process, at least a self-awareness process to figure out what it is, right?
Definitely. And that's why awareness is the most important. And you don't have to strive very hard to find what your magnificence is. Your magnificence is just being you. It's just being who you are and loving yourself as you are. That's really what your magnificence is. Now, everything else will fall into place. That's why we're here. That's why we're in this journey called life or this matrix, like we said before. This is what we're here for. We're here to find out, to learn, to grow, and to become a better person, and with awareness. So it's with the awareness, allow yourself to grow and figure out who you are, where you belong, what you want to do, but do it with grace, do it with have fun in the process, and enjoy the journey. Basically, that's really what it's all about. And I was going to mention also, I had another exercise we could do.
What's the other exercise?
The other exercise I was going to say, maybe have the audience recognize that being uncomfortable is okay. It's okay. We have to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
How do you learn how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable?
Because a lot of times being uncomfortable, a lot of people think it's, oh, there's something wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be doing something. But really all it is your body kind of telling you, okay, it doesn't really want to exude too much energy. So your body's kind of feeling off. But it doesn't mean there's anything wrong. So I want everybody to do an exercise. I want everybody to take their fingers right now, their two hands, and kind of interlock them with the thumb going on the outside, or the right thumb going on the outside or the inside, whichever one is comfortable. So either way, okay?
Okay.
So that's comfortable, right? Now what I want you to do is shift it and put your thumb on the other direction. If it was in the inside.
That's really uncomfortable.
See how it's uncomfortable? See, what this shows you though is you're still okay. There's nothing wrong. Right? There's nothing wrong. You're not falling off a cliff or anything. It's
different. It's weird.
It's weird. It's different, but that's only because you've been doing it the other way so often. So it's okay to try new things and to have fun and to try new things. Basically, it's a reminder of that just because it feels uncomfortable, it doesn't mean there's something wrong. So this applies also if you want to strive for a new relationship, if you want to strive for a new job, if you want to better yourself, instead of acting small and contracting and sitting back and being afraid. It's important to recognize that put your shoulders back, ready, and say universe, here I come, I'm ready. And so, and it doesn't matter if you're uncomfortable or if it doesn't feel good. It doesn't mean there's something wrong. It just means it's something new. And that's really the only reason why it feels uncomfortable. So go ahead and do it anyways. And keep saying in your mind, I will do it. I will do it. I can do it. And it's important to keep repeating that. And also knowing that everything will be okay, because in reality, everything, no matter what happens, you'll find your life, there's always, even if something looks bad, it always comes back and it works itself out. So use these mantras that are important. If you find yourself struggling with something, repeat this mantra, everything will be okay. Everything will be okay. And basically, and if you need to do something and you're worried that maybe you can't do it and you have self-doubt, say to yourself, I can do it. I will do it. I am doing it. I am doing it. And I want you to visualize yourself doing it and being in it and having success in it. And that's how we manifest. That's basically how people will manifest what they want into their life and bring abundance into their life. And it's possible.
So you think you can just manifest what it is you want, and that abundance will come into your life?
See, that's the problem. A lot of people think. They think all they have to do is think. I'm using that word a lot, but really it's more than that. You have to think it, but you have to believe it. That's why I said say I am doing it, and then visualize yourself doing it. It's important to believe without a doubt that's what your reality is. It's not just wanting it and thinking it. It's actually believing it without a doubt. It's like, when you order the steak in the restaurant, you're going to get steak. You're not thinking, oh my God, maybe the salmon will come. So it's knowing that steak is yours and you're savoring it and you're tasting it in your mouth already. That's what manifesting is about. That's how it works. It's not just thinking it.
So number one is make a commitment right now to live in your magnificence. Number two is feel comfortable with being uncomfortable. And number three is manifest what you want, what you desire. And don't just think it, live it, believe it, do it.
Exactly. And that's the most important thing. It's actually because we, like you said earlier, we create what we focus on. So focus on what you want, focus on the things you want. And if you want to do a little exercise, if you don't believe me, I don't know if you go to Winners or if you go to certain stores or a grocery store or whatever, and they have numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, focus on a number and say, okay, that's the number I'm going to go, that cashier. And you're going to find you're going to end up in that cashier. Or if there's students listening and they want a certain professor, and they could say, okay, I want Brian as the professor and focus on Brian. And you're going to see you're going to get Brian. Now, I want you to do an exercise also going into the same store another day and focusing on something and say, oh, I don't want number 3. I don't want number 3. And then you're going to see you're going to get number 3 anyways, because the universe doesn't know what you want.
So
it knows
again,
what
if you focus on that wall,
exactly.
If you focus on the bad thing, the person that's about to tackle you,
exactly,
and hit the wall and get tackled.
Exactly, and also for I know my twins were in university, and that's what I told them with professors too. Instead of focusing, oh my God, I hope I don't get Maria. I hope I don't get Maria. Instead of saying that, I shifted them. I taught them to say, focus on the one you want instead. Because otherwise, they're getting, one of them was always getting everything she didn't want. So I'm like, no, you're doing it wrong. Stop focusing on what you don't want. Focus on what you do want.
Okay, so we've got a lot of problems in the world right now. We've got a war in Russia. Sorry, not in Ukraine. Russia has invaded Ukraine. We've got gas prices that are up. We've got inflation that's up. We've got interest rates that are going up. We've got a potential of a recession, maybe a housing collapse. How do you, with all this stuff going on, focus on all this positive stuff that you're talking about?
You're going to laugh, but basically I kind of take a breath back and I say, it is a matrix. It's kind of like a journey. Everything has a way of working itself out. It's just kind of rolling with the punches and just kind of say, it's going to be okay. Everything will work out. Everything does work out. So it's just kind of, going through it, allowing yourself to go through it. It doesn't mean it's not happening. Of course, it's reality, but it's accepting it, surrendering. What we said before, kind of surrender, and know that it's there, obviously, but also know without a doubt that it's going to get better. So it's important to have that vision, the dream of where you want to be and where you want to go, and eventually it will come, no matter what, at the right time and at the right place. But Brian, nobody said life was going to be easy.
That's true.
There were no guarantees for that. So, and that's what we're here for. We're here for the struggles. Life is a struggle. And anybody that says their life is running smoothly is lying, because then they're not living. They're in a coma somewhere, because that's what life is. Life is meant to have struggles, and it's meant to be difficult at times. But what
wasn't it a Greek, Aristotle or someone who said we struggled our way to wisdom?
Yes, that's exactly it. I'm going to say it in a different way, but those are perfect words. I didn't even think of those. That's exactly what it is. So once we're meant to struggle, but it's not, it's how you deal with it, right? And how you perceive it in your head. Once you recognize that it's all in passing, it's all going to kind of go. That is what wisdom is, right? It's knowing that, recognizing that everything is going to pass, everything is going to go, and good times are going to come. But knowing without a doubt that that's going to happen, and then focus on that good times, feel it, know it that it's going to come. So whether it's housing, whether it's the war. I mean, we can't fix everything in the world. I wish and it's easy to want to fix the war, to want to fix hunger, world hunger, everything. But what I've learned is when I'm anxious about something and I worry about something, I take a small step to kind of whether if it's Hungary, I've sponsored a couple of kids in Africa, let's say. So I do that where obviously it's not going to help world hunger, but if everybody does one at a time, that's how we stop it at a small pace. And that's, for me, then it makes me feel a little bit better knowing that I'm doing a little something about it. Right. So whatever your cause is, do something about it. Don't just sit there and complain. So if you were climate change, okay, well, stop using plastic. I don't know. If it's hunger, do that. If it's the war, you could donate a little something. But this has been around forever. It's not something that's happening now. This is a cycle. It goes and it comes back, and it goes and it comes back.
Maria,
so knowing that,
how did you become such a positive person? How did you educate yourself on all this this stuff? How did you write the book?
With struggles comes wisdom. That's exactly how I did it.
So you had struggles.
I had my own struggles, and life has not been easy, but it's been exact. I wouldn't change anything in it. because it's exactly where I needed to. I'm exactly where I need to be.
So you weren't this positive before your struggles, but the struggles helped you find your way to this current outlook that you have in life?
Maybe not as, I wouldn't say that I was really a negative person, but I wasn't as confident. Definitely. I was more of a people pleaser, let's say. And I wasn't that wise. I saw things, I saw things as they were, and then I was a worrier more. Now I see things a little bit different with the wisdom. Now I kind of like sit back, and if something happens that's not something that I want to happen, that's not good for me, but then I think what I do is I call the word mesicize. I came up with a Greek word, mesicize. So we know exercise, right? Which is exercising the outside body, and the word exo means outside. So mesicize, I've come up, is internalizing, mesicizing. So it's about mesicizing, going within yourself and exercising your mind and your inside instead of just the body that people do. So I mesicize more, and I think, okay, why is this happening? So when something's negative is happening, then I mesicize and I want to see what the lesson is, because there's always a lesson. We're here to learn lessons and grow. If we don't learn the lesson though, Brian, things will keep happening over and over again. But and that's what they call karma as well. But once you learn the lesson, then the karma is gone. So learn the lesson, and then it will stop repeating itself over and over again. And that's really what it's about. That's what I've learned, that instead of just why things are happening, I've discovered the wisdom of things happen for me and not necessarily to me. And when they happen,
things happen for me, not necessarily to me. In other words, the problems that exist are there to teach you a lesson.
Exactly.
To teach you something.
To help you grow. So once you recognize and you have the awareness to see that, then you're able to evolve.
That's a pretty positive outlook on life, when all the crap that one gets put in their way at different times. So you see it all as part of life, and part of your journey, and part of how you're supposed to grow and learn and become wiser.
Exactly. And the other person's journey too. So when something happens, let's say something happens to you or it happens to my child, I don't sit there and think, oh my God, what's going to happen? I really truly believe it's a lesson for them to learn and grow. So I'll give them advice, but I'll step back and allow them to learn and grow from that experience.
I used to work for a guy by the name of Jim Pattison, brilliant guy, wonderful boss. And he used to say, there's no mistake if you learn from it, but if you don't learn from it, then it's a big mistake. Exactly.
Very wise guy. See? Yeah. So that's exactly what it is. It's a journey. So if once we learn, that's exactly what we're here for. That's what I want to leave the audience with. Recognize that we're here in this journey called life to learn and grow and to become a better person, to become awakened and to become spiritually a better person. But the way to do that is with awareness. So once you allow yourself, you make a conscious choice to be aware of everything you're thinking. And that's really where you know is what you're thinking. If it's something negative, why am I thinking? That's where you mesicize. Why am I negative? Why am I sitting here thinking, Maria, I don't know, something you don't like about me? Why, or if you're looking at somebody and you're thinking, oh, they're overweight or they're underweight. Why are you thinking that? You're going to find that you have weight problems. That's why you're judging everybody else's weight. You'll find, yes, people that, that have insecurities, and we all have our insecurities, but it's all about
projected on other people.
Exactly. It's all projections.
Really? We're going to take a break for some final messages and come back for some concluding comments with Maria Fudas in just a minute. Stay with us, everybody. Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. My guest tonight is Maria Fudas, and she's written this fascinating book called Connect with Yourself and Others. And it's a great book all about self-love, about connections, both with yourself and that with that you can connect up with others. We've been talking about the summer equinox. We've been talking about thinking about the future, thinking about yourself. We've had I think a good conversation about self-love and courage and having a choice in regards to that. We've talked about complaining and condemning and criticizing, the 3 C's that Maria is convinced we've got to stop. We've talked about looking at the opportunity and the whole rather than and the objective rather than at the obstacle and the problem and the wall. We've talked about really focusing on what'd you call it? You said it was I loved it. It was make a commitment to live in your magnificence. Make a commitment to live in your magnificence, and then be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and then really having this manifestation of what you want in life. So lots of great suggestions. Maria, in conclusion, have you got any other suggestions for people as they think about the summer equinox and what's important in this coming season?
Yeah, what I'm going to mention is also that when you worry about something, first of all, let's just say the worrying is a total waste of energy. There's an expression that goes, it's like being in a rocking chair. You feel like you're doing something, but you're really not going anywhere. So, worrying is a waste of time. So instead, what I want you to do, if there's something that you're worried about or something that's bothering you, I want you to feel it. It's not about not feeling angry, not feeling upset, not feeling something somebody did to you. It's important that you feel it, but feel it, process it in a way that's empowering to you, in a positive way, and not in a negative, critical, complaining kind of way where you're acting like a victim either. So it's important to feel it, process it, and then ultimately let it go. Let it go and know that everything will be okay, that it happened for a reason. Learn the lesson, learn whatever the lesson was. Learn the lesson so it doesn't happen again, because after all, that's where the present is. It's in the lesson. So learn the lesson and then let it go. That's what really the important thing is. Feel it, process it, and then let it go.
I had this one person who came on and said one of the best things to do is, if you've got those kinds of feelings and problems and issues, write it down. And on an important day like the summer equinox, go burn it as a way of processing it and saying it's gone. It's bye-bye to you, buddy. And that you'll feel sort of cleansed of whatever that issue is. Do you like that idea?
Yes, I definitely agree with that idea. I have my clients do that a lot. Is basically just burn it, or you could bury it. You could put it in water and just kind of drown it as well. Drown it. So if you don't want to burn something, but burning it is great because it gives you that energy as well. And so burn it and then let it go. And when you do that, if you're in the house, crack the door open a little bit so the energy goes out, and just kind of take it in. And when you burn it and you release it with love and forgiveness, which is very important. Breathe it in, the love, and then release it with love and forgiveness, so that all that negative energy is letting go. And I want you to feel it as you let it go as well. And the other thing I want to mention as well, Brian, is that our brain, the worry and all the stuff that happens, that's in our brain, they're like weeds that come from our subconscious. So it's important that when you're having those negative thoughts about yourself or about your life or about other people, so it's important with awareness. Again, key, start living with awareness from now on in order to live in your magnificence, but be aware of your thoughts, what you're having. And then it's important that if you're having a negative thought that's persistent about yourself or about your life, it's important to remove it, take it out. But it's like the weeds, you take them out, but a lot of times what happens, they're deep rooted. So you need to
get right down in there.
You got to get right down in there, but also you've got to put something in, right? So when you take a weed out, you have to put another seed in. Otherwise, that weed will come back out. So the important thing here is put an affirmation or another mantra inside that. Don't just say, I reject this thought. It's great to reject that thought if it's negative, but then put something positive, saying, if it's about yourself, then say, I am magnificent. I am important. I am worthy. If it's about yourself. If it's about a job or a relationship or anything, then say, everything will be okay. I can do it. I will do it. I will do it. I am doing it. I am doing it, and see yourself doing it. So it's important. That will allow you to shift out of that energy, but also importantly, to get into the energy you want to be.
Maria, this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you. Where can people get your book?
Well, they could get it from me directly if they wanted to send me a message via social media, but also Chapters, Amazon, basically anywhere books are sold online, they'll be able to get it. Connect
with yourself and others. 7 transformational principles, 30 factors, how to attract and maintain fulfilling relationships. Maria Fudas, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for inspiring us on this sort of special day. If I could leave you with one last thought, if I could. I had someone tell me on the summer equinox, it really is the longest day of the year. And so therefore, 2 things to do is be there for the sunrise and be there for the sunset. And I know it's not something we do every day, but this is one day that you can actually do it. And go on Google or wherever you go and find out when the sunrise is and the sunset, and wake up for it. And maybe meditate or pray or think or do whatever it is that you need to do. and then hang around until it's sunset and go out and watch the sunset on that, on the longest day of the year. And it's a special day to really allow yourself to think about the future and what's important in life and what you want to achieve. Try to keep it positive. Get rid of, what was it? Complaining, criticizing, and condemning. Get rid of those 3 C's, and focus on manifesting a positive future. Sounds great. That's our show for tonight. Happy summer equinox. Have a great summer, everybody. Hopefully you'll check up with me every once in a while. I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.